On this episode of the John1911 Podcast, missing questions. The NRA is a mess. No true bill in Texas, and the chocolate monk.
Okay, good evening, everybody. This is Kraken and Marky, and this is episode 328 of the John1911 Podcast. Today is, I don't even know, what is it, Saturday? I don't even know what the date is. It's the day when the United States froze over. So what's the temperature in Nebraska right now, Kraken?
Well, in scientific terms, it is colder than a well digger's ass. We're at minus 18 right now before wind chill.
Before wind chill. Oh my God. Let's see here. Everybody is freaking out around here because it's going to get down to supposedly 5 degrees, I think, overnight, possibly. So let me see here. Well, it'll be 5 degrees at 9 a.m. and then 4 degrees at 10. So it's going to be, it's not even overnight. It's actually after the sun's up, it's going to get that cold. So yeah. So we DC, who's a regular, he sent me a message. He's down there in Texas, and he's got, what he send me? It's 5 degrees in Texas.
Yeah. Well,
and it's like, holy cow! I didn't know it was that cold that far south. So,
well, it's so cold here. We're actually getting. Have you ever heard of a frost quake? Now, I'm not bullshitting you. I'm not yanking your chain here. It's when it gets so cold so fast that the ground is expanding from freezing, and it actually makes kind of a booming sound. And I've actually had a couple that kind of shook the house momentarily, just like a sudden boom and a vibration. Because 2 weeks ago, we really weren't froze. Didn't really have frozen soil yet.
mm-hmm.
So we went from, highs in the high 30s to 18 below in the space of a couple of days. So all that wet soil is now freezing so fast, it's expanding, and it actually cracks and pops, and it's like little, like half-second earthquakes.
Wow. I mean, it's because we haven't actually had a real hard freeze here yet either. So I'm actually looking forward to tomorrow. I got to head out to the range and, number one, hope the tractor starts, unlike yours, and
right.
kind of get to the back of the property and do some stuff. But I mean, I don't know. Like, I guess I'm just kind of like, I'm not afraid of 2024. I'm not afraid of anything. I just know this year is going to be a complete shit show. Between, like, I'll look at my watch. So what is it? The 13th? Is it the 13th? So
Yeah.
we're not even 2 weeks into January. You're talking about frost quakes. Joe Biden is walking around like the crypt keeper. The Secretary of Defense is, he goes MIA and doesn't tell anybody. He didn't he didn't even tell his Assistant Secretary of Defense why that she had to take over. She was just on vacation. He goes, "Hey, you got to be in charge." She said, "What?" They didn't call the chief of staff at the White House. They didn't call the president. They didn't call anybody. And then, we got, I don't know what's next. Like, 2024 election is going to be a disaster. Everybody's shooting the shit out of each other in the Middle East. I don't know, like Godzilla's going to come out and attack Tokyo. I don't know what's like. I mean, just, okay, sure. So now it gets so cold that we're getting cold quakes or freeze quakes, whatever you call them. So, no, sure, okay. Hey, but you know what? Before we get too deep into it, I want to just take a moment. So I don't have the latest on this. We talked about this earlier today. If you've heard anything, there's news that there are 2 Navy SEALs that are missing at sea off the coast of Somalia. Have they found them yet?
Not that I have heard of. the little bit I know about operations like that, it's not going to probably have a positive outcome.
Well, I'm going to maintain hope that in a couple days these boys will wash up in a bar in Bahrain with the greatest, shit talking story they could tell, that they were beating off sharks with, the butts of their knives or something, and they'll go down in history. They'll go down in history as the first Navy SEALs with shark kills with a knife or something. I hope they find them. I mean, it's if anybody's going to make it for a couple days, I would think it would be some Navy SEALs. So so thoughts and prayers for the SEAL community tonight. That's
definitely.
So, well, on that note, you've been shooting any guns? You've just been holding up. Do you have a fire going tonight? I don't hear any cracking or popping.
I was actually watching the Chili Bowl on TV upstairs, and of course it took half of forever to get done, so I just decided to hang out upstairs. So no fire tonight.
Oh, okay. The Chili Bowl. Is that football?
No, that's actually a big indoor midget sprint car race in Oklahoma.
Okay. See, for a minute, I was like, an indoor midget race. Like, okay, why have I not heard of this? Okay, sprint car. Okay.
It's midget sprint cars, so they weigh about 900 pounds, and they've got 4-cylinder, mostly Toyota motors in them that make around 400 horsepower. But it's been going on 37 years. It's one of the crown jewel events in dirt track racing, but it happens about this time every January, and they race for a week down there. So
37 years?
Yep. So when I first met my wife, I was telling her, one of these days I'm going to have to try and get tickets to the Chili Bowl because, it's next to impossible to get tickets. It's a little easier now, but 10 years ago, people would actually will their tickets to their heirs. They wouldn't give them up. And she's like, "What's the Chili Bowl?" And I says, "Well, it's a week of racing. It's like 350, midget sprint cars. They race." Swear to God, she looks at me with a straight face and she says, "Well, where do they find 350 midgets that drive race cars?"
I mean, Game of Thrones cast, obviously.
And the bad part is
No,
she got me tickets.
You should have said at the Keebler factory.
It gets better because we got tickets the next year. We just got lucky, and it was actually a midget that won it, a guy by the name of Rico Abreu.
Dude, you're kidding me.
I am not shitting you a bit. He's in Australia right now racing full-size sprint cars, but...
Dude, I would not want to be a midget in Australia with all the exotic shit that's trying to kill people down there. I mean, like, one of those crazy dive-bombing birds could kill a midget. I mean, like, a kangaroo would kill a midget. Those nasty things.
So they introduce him, and he's like 4'5", and he comes waddling out. And my wife just smacks me in the arm, and she says, "I thought you said they were midget sprint cars."
At that point, you knew she was a keeper.
Yep.
So. How long does that race last?
Well, they had 372 entries this year, so they started racing, I think it was on Tuesday. So you pick a night to try and qualify. So depending on where you finish with passing points and everything, basically they start about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, run till about 11 o'clock every night through the week. And then today they have what they call the Alphabet Soup races, which started with like an M feature. And they would take, I think 4 cars and move that up to the L feature. And it keeps moving up. It's called Alphabet Soup Racing. And the goal is to make the A feature, which is the big race they had tonight that, pays the big money to win. So out of 372 cars, they started like 26 tonight in the A feature.
Okay.
Yeah. Had drivers from Australia, New Zealand, Great Britain, Canada, pretty much almost all 50 states.
Is there a purse, or is it just for bragging rights?
Oh no, it paid 20 grand to win, which when it comes to dirt track racing isn't a phenomenal amount, but it's more of a prestige thing than it is money. There's a lot more races that pay more money. But if you get, they call the trophy's called the Golden Driller. So if you get one of them, I mean, it's a keystone event.
Oh,
It's
okay.
like it's in the world of dirt, it's a big deal.
How big of a crowd is it normally? Does it normally
Uh,
draw?
oh, I don't know what the official attendance is, but I'll bet there's 10, 12,000 packed in there.
That's pretty
The
decent.
Well, the track is really small. Like I said, it's indoors. It's in America's largest free-spanning building. Uh, so yeah, there's an ass every 18 inches.
Wow.
They're
That's, I
just
mean,
packed in tight.
that's cool. I mean, that's cool. Hey, weren't you telling me, when we talking, they're closing the track around here? They're closing, there's a track that they're going out of business here that you were aware of. Or maybe you hadn't heard that
Mm,
they were closing. There's a track in Lawrenceburg, Indiana, that they're, I guess the family's giving it up, or they're looking for someone to take it over. I guess they want to, it's kind of like Knob Creek. They're just retiring.
yeah, yep. That's
So,
happening more and more. It's the racing in general. It's getting more expensive. The economy's not as good. There's a lot of competition for the entertainment dollar. The big track you've got is up in Rossburg, Ohio. That's Eldora Speedway. Tony Stewart owns that.
oh, okay.
So if you're a dirt track nut, Rossburg is right up there. It's kind of like the Daytona of dirt track racing.
Okay. Well, I mean, I know you, I mean, I guess maybe a lot of the listeners aren't aware of this, but you race cars. You do
Used
this.
to. Yep, used to.
Yeah, well, I saw some pictures. It didn't look like it was that long ago. So,
No, my final season was 2018. I finally banged my head up enough. Doctor told me I couldn't do it anymore.
well, we're all
That's
getting
that's kind
older.
of, that's why I am the way I am now. Eat,
So,
eating
well, go.
squirrels and playing with guns.
Yeah. Well, speaking of which, I screwed up on the Q&A, and I can't even guarantee that I'm still not screwing up, but I missed some questions. And so far, I've been able to identify two. So I think there's more. So obviously, with all the stuff going on with the construction and the armory and everything, I'm not as organized as I usually am. Like, dude, I've had painters and framers. They showed up at 8 o'clock this morning and they left at 9:30 this evening,
Oh
and they're
wow.
coming back tomorrow at between 9 and 10 because they're trying to get a bunch of stuff done before the work week starts. And it's just like, ugh, it's like it's just been kind of a zoo. So I'm not making excuses to the listener out there if I screwed up some of your questions, um, but I am making some excuses. I promise it'll be better next year. But even in regard to next year, I want to run something by you, Kraken. We've had more than one person request that we do Q&As more often. And I don't know how I feel about that. We should talk about it privately, but fuck it, we'll do it live. So, I mean, like, I don't want to do Q&As. Like, one of my problems with Q&A is it's just, it just turns. Have you ever been to a comedy show?
Hmm.
And there's two types of comedy shows. Well, there's probably more than two. But like the two types of comedians that I've witnessed is you'll have dudes that come up and they have like their act, okay, and
Hmm.
then their jokes or their setups, and they'll do some crowd work, where they're talking to the crowd, asking some questions, but they've formed an act. And then you get these comedians where their entire show is just crowd work, where they're trying to just feed off the crowd. And unless you're extremely, really, really, really good at that, one or two guys that are really good at that, and most of those comedians suck. And what I don't want to do is I don't want to turn the podcast into a Q&A crowd work all the time, because we'd be answering these questions, and I don't know if half the audience would even care. So I don't know, like maybe we do them. I don't know. What would you think? Like more than
maybe
once a
twice,
year?
maybe twice a year. Do a year end and then do like a midsummer kind of
Like,
split
well,
the
like
year and a half, maybe.
a Fourth of
Yeah,
July.
yeah,
So yeah, we could do like the July 4th, 'cause that's always a big weekend. So we could get the questions. Someone's gonna have to remind me, because I'm gonna forget. We could start getting the questions a week or so before. Then we could record it, and we could even have it ready. We could even record it and have it ready even ahead of time, and we could all take some time off.
yeah.
That's not a bad idea. Do the big 4th of July Q&A and then the end of year Q&A. Yeah, see,
Maybe
I'm
let it
glad. Yeah,
maybe let it drop on the 4th.
yeah, do something like that. Yeah. Yeah, or whatever that, because it's always like a weekend. There's always a
Yeah,
weekend associated with the fourth. Even if the fourth ends up on a Wednesday, the world decides the weekend before or the weekend after, this is going to be the weekend everybody parties, and so we drop it like that weekend.
there you
So,
go.
yeah, okay, that's not a bad idea. So, okay, well, here are the two questions. Are you ready? The first one is from OG Dad Bod. He's um, he's been very active lately on the website, which I really appreciate. If you really want to get my attention, interact on the website, folks. Quote, you missed mine as well. Submitted under AMA episode. Curious about getting females into shooting. Any help is appreciated. And so I definitely wanted to get a little, I needed some shotgun coverage on that one. So you have any does your does your little lady ever do any shooting? Or
Well, actually, she kind of grew up in the hunting world.
yeah?
Uh, she is a surprisingly good pistol shot for not really having any formal training. So she does like to shoot. She doesn't shoot as much as I do, but kind of where I'm at, uh, a lot of women are into hunting. So it's especially with younger women, it's not a big stretch to get them into shooting or get them interested. A lot of them, it's more of they don't have a real good idea how to get involved. So uh, that's kind of the bigger thing, is it's not for lack of them wanting to, but it's them not knowing how to get started.
So let me you said something I'm not going to let go by without me highlighting this. So hold on, let me get this straight. You said, and not in so many words, but you said in your part of the country there are a lot of women that hunt, especially younger women. Do I have that correct?
Yeah.
Gentlemen, y'all need to move to Nebraska. That's your answer right there. There it is. Forget going to Thailand and these mail order brides. You need to go to Nebraska. So, I've seen some, I remember this was some years ago. I mean, look, I used to work heavily in the training business, where we had a lot of civilians come through. And I would see couples, and generally it would be, again, my impression, I can't read anybody's mind, but it would be kind of like she's really there for him. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And I don't know if that lasted. I don't know if she was there because she wanted to be there, the many she's, but it might have been a thing like, let me go through some training so I can learn to defend myself, so I can defend the house. It wasn't like they were going to go on and do things. But I remember running into a couple, and she was good. I mean, and she wasn't like she picked up a gun and, like, oh my God, you're a savant. This is unbelievable. I mean, no. This bitch could shoot. And she could shoot better than him, and she was into it. And I remember I didn't really talk to him that much, but I just remember thinking that was so neat that they had that in common, like that they could really do that together. So I don't have the answer for you, OG Dad Bod, other than maybe move to Nebraska. I mean, I guess a couple things I would say is number one, if your girl didn't grow up in hunting or shooting or whatever it is, the first thing is if you're going to expose her to shooting, set her up for success. Don't do that goofy shit where it's like, hey, baby, you want to shoot this 12 gauge shotgun? And everybody gets their cameras out and watches this gun knock the shit out of this girl. And, and the gun goes flying and, she's fine, but everyone's like, har, har, har. Because even though she's like, har, 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 she's done. She'll never do that again. And that's very common. And then the other mistake is, and everyone kind of knows this now, but, wait, little lady, let's get you a little, what was it? What was I shooting the other day? A Smith & Wesson 442 airweight, 258 grade. Here's a little J-frame revolver for you. And I'm shooting this gun and it's thumping the shit out of me. I'm not shooting plus P ammo. Like, set a girl up for success in whatever you're into, whatever you want her to do. I mean, ARs are real good guns. 22s, start off 22s, but that can be a little, even when you're not trying to sound like you're condescending to women, if you hand them a 22, they know that it's a 22. But if you hand a girl an AR-15 and you like, trust me that, you do what you do is you get the AR-15. Like I've had to do this before where I'm literally like, this thing recoils like a BB gun. And I'm like, look, the average dog-faced pony soldier in the army can hold one of these things. And like literally I can hold it with my fingers and shoot it. Like this thing does not recoil. I'm like, here, put your hand on the back of it. And I hold it safely and they can kind of feel the recoil pulse. I'm like, I promise you, it's a glorified 22. Again, for the conversations for her benefit. Mm-hmm. And then, it's a real easy gun to shoot. A lot of them have adjustable stocks, length of pull. It's not like you're giving her a gun, you're giving her daddy's gun. It doesn't fit her. And, it's basically a laser beam. A new shooter can pick up an AR-15 with a red dot, and you can literally have them hitting man-sized silhouettes at 200 yards without even trying. I mean, you can really get them you can get them a chance to experience stuff like that. Or, you could do the sporting clays. I mean, one of the things that maybe you could consider doing is finding one of these nice sporting clays. I'd say shotgun sports. I would do sporting clays. Shotgun places, and either go with your own guns, or if you want to rent a gun, make sure she gets a 20 gauge. And honestly, you should get a 20 gauge too. Just shoot the same gun she's shooting so she doesn't feel like, oh, she's shooting the girl gun, because the reality is 20 gauge is more than enough. And I know a lot of dudes that shoot 20 gauge. And, you make it, you just maybe take a class, but it's like you hire a private instructor, you guys go through it together. You're not showing her how to shoot. What you're doing is you're with her and you've hired an instructor, but you've told the guy ahead of time, you shoot all the time. She's a new shooter. You can teach my wife. You can also look at me and, give me pointers, because we can all use pointers. But then, if we decide or she decides after 4 or 5 or, maybe, whatever point, she's like, I'm done. You can kind of step out and no harm, no foul. You still pay the guy. But, it's not like she's stuck on the bullet train and has to ride this thing for 3 hours. And then you go have a nice lunch at the lodge, or, and make it so not only is she getting instruction and you stay out of it, you're getting instruction. And maybe things catch on that. But I think guys that have relationships with women that, they have something like that in common, shooting or fishing or, motorcycle, whatever it can be, I'm very envious of that. That's really a dream for a lot of guys. It really is. So I would say set them up for success. Maybe whatever. Even if whatever it is, like I don't know, I don't know, a class in fly fishing or something. Like, just let the instructor instruct both of you like you're equals and work on each, so it's not all like she's the little lady and she's the slowest boat in the convoy, so everybody's got to slow down for her benefit. It's like, no, just like kind of go, that's my advice. I don't know. No one shoots with me, so obviously my shit doesn't work either. So,
the thing I found, sorry.
No, go ahead.
The thing I found is, number one, you got to make it fun, and your idea of fun may be different from hers. So, number two, hearing protection should go without saying. But if you hand her an AR and she's only going to shoot it once or twice, so you didn't give her good earplugs or good headphones, she's going to shoot that about one time, or even a handgun, and she's going to be done, because that's going to hurt her ears.
You see, again, like, I'm assuming, like, who would shoot without hearing protection? I mean, it's just
you'd be surprised.
Well, we used to back in the day.
Yeah, the biggest thing is reactive targets. You can really get people interested in shooting sports with something as simple as a Ruger 1022 and a bunch of clay pigeons set up at 10 yards, and just breaking clay pigeons, or just shooting steel targets with a 22, something that makes a clang, so they get some satisfaction from it right away, instant gratification.
Yeah.
But you get them breaking clay targets or pinging steel, and they'll bankrupt you in ammunition costs. You'll hook them.
But you know what? Like, I guess it's important, and this probably doesn't apply to a lot of people, but I guess it needs to be said, because, you said, make sure it's fun. And what I mean by that is, depending on who you are and what you do, you have to recognize that if you take your little lady shooting and you're a competitive shooter, or you're a SWAT officer, or for some reason shooting is your job, or it's very important, it's job adjacent, that you're working and it's probably not going to be fun for her. So, like, that's like the example that I gave of the shotgun sports, the sporting clays. I don't want to be even a world class. I don't want to be even a moderately good shotgun shooter. And I don't mean that by that statement. What I mean by that is, when I shoot shotguns once every couple of years, I'm just out there blasting and having fun, doing the best I can. If I hit, I'm just having fun. Like, it's not, it's not like, oh man, I didn't break 50, or I didn't break 25, or 25 would be terrible. But even if I don't, it's like, I don't care. It's like, I want to have
90
fun.
video.
Yeah. So,
you
know what I mean?
teed that one up. I had to take a swing at that one.
Yeah.
If you want a good laugh, check out Marky's 590 video.
Yeah, that was just, I got some guns I can shoot coming. So it's been a long time since I shot a puff shotgun. It's like, holy shit. So, yeah, but like, just because you think it's fun, but if you're this performance-based shooter, like, if you're a guy that always likes trying to break 100 in some kind of shotgun sport, I don't know if I'd take my girl shotgun shooting. I think I would, I'd do something else, because it's going to bleed over. So, make it fun for both of you.
Yeah.
But, I'd love to in the future, maybe my life's changing a little bit. Maybe that'll happen. We'll see. Yeah. Maybe I'll get that dream too.
Great question.
Yeah. So, so the next question I missed is from Mongo, and also another. Mongo is kind of like our resident Class 3 machine gun expert and gun designer. I feel terrible. So this is for both of us. It's for all three of us. So, what gun does Marky, Kraken, and Danny wish Santa would bring him other than an overpriced French semi-auto. So if Santa was going to bring you a gun, what would you want? I don't know.
Myself?
Yeah.
I would want a Select Fire MP5.
Okay. You're like, so you're basically like, fuck it, go for the moon. I want a $50,000 gun. Okay. It's like, all right, that's fair. I mean, if Santa's bringing, I wasn't going to be that greedy. I guess I was like,
Greed is
okay,
good.
greed is good. Okay.
Gordon Gekko.
Gordon Gekko. 80s movie reference. Semi-realistic for me is I've casually looked for this. I hear rumors that they're out there, that there's more of these things than there are host guns. But I would like to find, Santa could help me find where a obviously transferable, registered FNC auto sear. So I could drop it, send it off and drop it into, we have an FNC rifle and make that select fire. So, I mean, I saw those auto sears for $7,000 and $8,000 at one point, and the FNC guns were like $3,000. Now, I've seen the converted FNC guns are now. I don't think they're getting them, but they're getting up there. I saw one recently as high as 19,000. And I've seen the semi-auto host guns, because you have to have an FNC. They don't make those or bring them in anymore. I saw one of those for $7,000 the other day.
Oh.
It's like, holy shit. I don't know if the guys, but it's, they're, and it's a debate. Like, okay, like the FNCs, there's not that many FNCs in the country. And it's like, well, then there's people that are converting them because they get the auto sears. Because there's a rumor that there's a bunch of registered auto sears, that some company was making auto sears like crazy right before the deadline in '86. And, if you think about it, you could very easily get to a point where more FNC rifles are machine guns than they are semi-auto.
Yeah.
And then you kind of invert the rarity calculation. You know what I'm saying? Like, a semi-auto FNC could become so rare that you almost wish you had one. And so now it's like, well, if I have a semi-auto FNC and I convert it legally, am I going to be compelled to go out and buy another semi-auto so I can have both? I mean, it's this this terrible vortex of just spending money. It's just like, so yeah, mine's the FNC auto sear. Mongo, if you, right now I'm going through a barn and a lot of stuff. I really, brother can't really afford an auto sear right now. Maybe later in the year. I know Mongo's got one somewhere, I know Mongo knows somebody that probably has 10 of these in a drawer, and just needs to hook a brother up, because Mongo's that guy, and I need an FNC auto sear. So before all these machine guns get too expensive for me to afford. Fun fact, in case, full disclosure to the listener, because they may not know this, I've never owned a machine gun.
Really?
Nope, I have never, ever, ever owned a machine gun. I've shot quite a few machine guns. U.S. Army government machine guns, police select fire M4s, Uzis. What else is there? Not that many. Yeah, that's really, because it's just mostly some moderns. I don't think I don't I don't I for some reason I want to say I've never fired a full auto MP5, but something in my mind is telling me that that's not true.
Yeah.
But I've actually done training with M4, like select fire M4s, and government, like U.S. Army M4s. We were training them. But no, I've never actually owned a personal machine gun, and I think that probably needs to change at some point. But the stuff's getting so expensive now. It's like, oh, a lot of the shit stuff is expensive. Like the AR-15s are knocking on the 40 grand now. Like even like the crap ones that aren't Colt. And it's like, well, maybe I get one of those Swedish Ks. Like the Swedish Ks were looking good to me. They're getting up in price. And it's like, oh, shit. Like I was looking at Uzis and they were getting up in price. And they're not even really that great of a gun. It's like, so, if I don't buy one. So I keep telling myself, well, I could do an auto sear and easily build value. You know what I mean? For an FNC.
Mm-hmm.
Like I could, I don't know. I don't want to spend $15,000 on an auto sear when they were. I literally saw them for sale for just under $6,000 or $7,000 5, 6, 7 years ago. And it's just like, ugh. So yeah. So that's where we're at. So
Yeah.
So what are you bringing when you come in? When you stop by the range? Have you thought about it yet?
Oh, I'm going to bring an assortment of stuff. Going to bring that Ed Brown, and probably we'll leave it out there for a while so you can play with it. Just clean it off good before you send it back.
Yeah, I'll have to wipe the drool off of it.
I don't want any DNA stains on it.
What caliber is that? That's a 300 Win Mag?
300 Win Mag. Yep.
Okay. It's probably too much to ask. Is it threaded?
Nope.
Oh, Ed. I knew he. Fun fact, I used to be friends with Ed Brown.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like Ed. A lot of people didn't like Ed, but Ed and I got along real well. I understood Ed. So that's why I knew it wasn't threaded. That's why I just knew.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whenever you bought an Ed Brown gun, you were very much buying his opinion. So
Exactly.
yeah, and so I'm looking forward to that. So what else you bringing?
I think I'll bring that Smith & Wesson 1026 out for you. You haven't shot any of the Side De-cocker Smiths before, have you?
I'm sure I have.
Well, they didn't make very many.
What do you mean by side De-cocker? I'm thinking away because I'm thinking of the safeties up on the slide. Wait a minute.
No. It's a traditional double action, but the decock lever is actually frame mounted like a SIG is.
Oh shit! Really? I've never even seen that.
Yeah.
Oh hell! I have to make some videos of that thing. Is
Yeah,
that
definitely.
Is that considered so that's considered rare?
Yes and no. So the one that most people have is the 1076. That was the gun that the FBI went to after the big Miami-Dade shootout, and then they found out that a lot of their agents at 10 millimeter was just a little too much monkey for them to handle. So that had the frame mounted decocker on it. So that's what most people have, and then they made a 45 in the same configuration. The one I have is actually a full size, so it's a 1026. So it's got the full size 5-inch barrel, so it's a little more controllable. It's a lot of fun to shoot. You'll like it.
I'm trying to remember. I can't say exactly where this was because I don't think all these people are in jail yet. I was working and around these bikers. And bikers, that one thing that bikers are really big into is they don't take offense to this, anybody, or even you, Kraken, but bikers are into stolen guns big time. And so these dirtbag bikers would occasionally want to flash me their stolen shit. And I encouraged it. I didn't encourage it, but I didn't discourage it because I had a bunch of shit stolen, and I decided this was a good opportunity for me to get some of my shit back. So I remember this group of bikers, a whole shit pile of them got arrested for moving dope, selling. They were slinging dope, and like a big like giant amounts of dope, and man, this guy had this giant stainless Smith and Wesson pistol. And it was in 40, I think it was in 45. I remember this thing was like, it was a brick. And I just remember being like, my God, where'd you get this thing from? And he'd bought it on the street from someone that had probably stolen it out of a house. I mean, it was, and these people were, I mean, there wasn't a non-disabled person among them, and I don't mean the blue placard on your license plate either. Like, so I mean, but I remember this thing was, I mean, they actually like, hey man, you want to buy it? I was like, ah man, I appreciate it. It's wasn't gonna buy no hot gun. I was just looking for my shit. But this thing, I remember this thing was huge. Like I mean, I've got larger hands. This thing was a monster gun, but I don't remember if it had a. Did they make the side de-cocker in 45 as well, or was it just in a 10 millimeter?
They made it in 45 also, so yeah, so it'd be a 45-26 or a 45-76, depending on whether it was the 4-inch or 5-inch barrel version.
This was a 5-inch gun.
Yep, so that'd be a 45. If it had the side mount, it would have been a 26. I've got a 45-06, which has the traditional slide-mounted de-cocker.
Mm-hmm.
I can throw that in the bag and bring that along, too. It's fun to shoot. That's the one I was telling you about. Will actually chamber empty cases out of the magazine.
You know what? Remind me, if you do bring that, remind me we're going to get that on film, because I think that's pretty impressive. And then, you know what, we'll get all these people wanting to copy it. And I'm like, my gun does it too. And I'm like, well, back in the day, dude, like the 80s, that was pretty rare. Like we were just like, holy cow, this thing will feed empty cases.
Yep.
I actually, this is 30 years ago. I actually had a little, as much as I get on the internet and I shit on pocket rockets, I had bought, was this one of the stolen? No, well, I don't remember if this was one of the stolen guns or not. It was a Smith and Wesson pocket rocket. It was, I think it was aluminum, but it was anodized or black. It had rubber grips, and I don't remember if it was I think it was a DAO gun, but it was in 45, and it was called a Chiefs Special, but it was not a revolver. It was a semi-automatic. Is that,
yep.
am I remembering that right?
Yep. It was more of an economy version, but it would have been like the CS-45.
I'm thinking it was called a CS-45.
Yep.
And, that was back when I hadn't decided on full-sized service pistols. It was the solution to all my problems, and I kept futzing with all these strange guns. And I don't miss that gun at all. Do you have one of those?
I've had one. I don't have one currently. They came out with a real bang. They were kind of the hot thing to get when they first came out. And enough people got hold of them and went, man, this is a handful.
I remember not enjoying shooting
it. They just kind of died out. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I sold it. I'm sure I bought it because some gun magazine told me it was the greatest thing ever. And it's like, it's like, ooh, that's one of the new CS-45 guns. And it was like, oh, I want a 45. And I think it held like,
I think it was
5 or 6, if that. Like,
it was a real compact gun, real lightweight. Had a ton of muzzle flip. Ergonomically,
oh my God,
just horrible.
Yeah, and they were like a cheap gun as well. So back then I wouldn't have known it was a cheap gun. I wouldn't have been able to tell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So what else you bringing? Anything else?
Let's see. I think you wanted to shoot that P220 single action only.
Oh, I do. I definitely want to shoot one of those.
Yep. So I'm going to bring that for sure.
That's basically SIG's 1911. That's what that gun is.
Yep. Might bring out, I think don't you have a Beretta 1201?
Yes, that's actually, I'm going to be shooting it. I almost went to shoot it today. I actually got it out of where the weapons are being stored because the armory's all tore up. And I got it out to shoot it. I got that. So people are getting a preview of videos that are going to be coming up over the next week. I pulled out the 1201. I pulled out the SPAS 12. because I don't really like. I was like, man, I can't remember how to run a 590. I mean, if Spas 12 is going to be like, me fucking a football, like that thing is like talking about like I mean, that thing is a combination between a Rubik's cube and a steampunk comic book. But I'm curious if that high brass hunting bird shot that I have will cycle that Spas 12. So I got that, and then there's a who makes the Spas 12? Is it Fama? Not
Frenchie.
Fama. Frankie. Frankie.
Funky.
So there's another shotgun that I have that's, I don't know if they're rare or not, but it's a basically it's a Spas 12, but it's the only semi-automatic version. It's not a pump.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was a guy that showed up. I don't know, I had a video or post about one some years ago. Oh, it's the same gun. And he was asking questions about it and wanted more shooting of it because he has one. I think he was overseas. And I don't know if he was like Pakistan or Italy or where he was. But I told him, I said, we're going through all this construction, but maybe over the winter I'll pull it out and I'll make a video for you talking about it. So since I was doing shotguns, since I need to redeem myself with the 590, I literally was looking for all kinds of shotguns. So, and there might even, I don't know what else there is. Those are, I think, the shotguns I pulled out. And
Okay.
so yeah, I got 1201. So is yours black with a chrome bolt, or is it different?
Yeah, it's black with the chrome bolt. It
Did you
weighs
buy it
about
new?
3 pounds.
Yeah. Is you buy it new, or is it a police surplus gun?
No, it was actually a private purchase. It was not a police gun, but it is rather unique because it came with factory Mepper lights on it. They're faded out now, but it's
Hmm.
actually a factory gun with Mepper light night sights on it.
I don't know if ours has them. I don't know what ours has on it. I have to look. Do you know if they kick hard?
Oh, it kicks like a mule.
I was under the impression that they might kick hard. So I
Yeah,
guess the
they're
1301 doesn't kick as hard. Is am I to understand that correctly?
uh, it's going to be about the same.
Oh, really?
The 1201 is basically a Benelli M1. Matter of fact, you can pull the buttstock, like if you can find a pistol grip buttstock off of an M1 Benelli and bolt it right up to that 1201.
You know
Uh,
what?
you,
I just remembered. There's another shotgun I pulled out. There's a gun that Doc had when he was training with the police at the place I used to work at. And this was 20, 30 years ago before I met him. They did a lot of shotgun work back then. And so he had a shotgun. He hadn't shot this thing in years, and he was, thinking about selling it, and he's asking me what I thought it would, if I could help him sell it. And I was like, well, what is it? And is it an M1 Super 90?
mhm.
Is that right? It's an M1
Yep.
Super 90. It's got a side saddle on it, a hard side saddle. I remember the last time I shot it, it's got some bolt that sticks out on it. I don't know if it's from the side saddle or like a cross bolt or something, like, and it just like it cuts the shit out of my hand. Like if I drag, because if I'm trying to work the gun quickly, dragging my hand across the side of the gun, this bolt sticks out and just slices into my thumb or into my index finger, or my trigger finger or something. And I guess, again, I don't know if this is considered desirable or not, but it's a Benelli shotgun, but it's imported by H&K. So it's got Heckler and Koch
Mhm.
on the receiver, and I guess the internet thinks that's better. I don't know why.
Uh, the fanboys want them. They don't bring a huge premium, but they'll bring a little bit more than an M1 Super 90,
Is are they
the Benelli mark.
is it called a Super 90, or is it called something else?
Yeah, it's an M1 Super 90. It's just
Okay.
got the HK stamping on it.
Okay, so we have one of those, and I liked it. I was like, the thing, like, for years I've been buying shotguns. So yes,
Yeah,
if you want to bring the 1201, you can. We can have a 1201 shoot off.
there we go.
You know,
But you take your
uh,
1201 apart and field strip it and then field strip an M1. and the guts are going to look identical for the most part. It's kind of like the difference between a Chevy truck and a GMC truck.
Okay. So I have basically two of the same gun. Great. Yeah. So well, the Frankie gun might be the same way. So they use some of the same parts because we had to service them some years ago. So,
but if we're gonna
have
a 1201 shoot off, though, we're gonna shoot buckshot, not them little girly loads like you were using in that 590 video.
Now, hey, let me tell you something. Those people shoot that bird shot, and I'm not saying I think it's bird shot. I'm not saying it's rough. It's not rough, but people that shoot like double A target loads, and they're like, yeah, I'll shoot bird shot, and they shoot this, and they're like, fuck. I mean, like, this is actually, you plan on putting meat on the table. This shit reaches out. This stuff this will cycle all your guns.
Yeah.
Because and I actually went through it because it was the only ammo I could get at the time. So I bought like a fucking pile of it. So, we'll shoot. I don't know if I have much.
I've
I don't
got
know
a
if I
bunch
have
of
enough.
buckshot I'll bring.
Okay, I don't know if I have enough buck to keep us going. I'm gonna have to make an extra ammo run before you come to town.
Yeah. But full disclosure, though, I mean, I grew up shooting shotgun slugs at deer, so
yeah,
I'm when it comes to heavy recoiling shotguns, that's just kind of old hat for me. So I'm just giving you a bunch of shit about your little girly hands and your girly loads.
Hey, look. My name is at the top of the masthead. I'm the one that people can. I've got a big bullseye on my back. I expect to take incoming fire. I mean, if I can't, I got to be able to take it. So I mean, it's fine. Don't worry about talking shit about me. You'll notice I let people get away with quite a bit talking about me on the internet. I don't let them talk shit about staff members. But they can come. They can lay the hellfire down on me. I'll just take it. So yeah, you can do it too. It's fine. I mean, I think people enjoy it.
Now I'm talking shit, so I'm gonna suck that day.
Yeah, I'll tell you what.
It's kind of like when you brag about your bird dog to your buddies, and then that's the day you finally go hunting with them, and then your bird dog decides to make a total ass out of you.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's the bird dog, not you. Yeah, okay,
yeah. So sure. This is what's gonna happen. Now I've just rednecked the shit out of you about your shotgun shooting, and then I'm gonna come out and shoot like ass.
Yeah, well, I have like 5 cameras set up, and so we'll have the main video, we'll have prelim videos, we'll have YouTube and Facebook, Instagram shorts, and then we'll do like meme videos with overlaid audio of like different things, and we'll overlay the audio of you fucking up, and so like it'll last all year.
We'll call it the 5-angle ass video.
Yeah. So, well, is there anything you want to shoot that, not that you know everything that's around, but the thing is, with all this construction, I literally got to pull it out and have it ready because there's no racks. Like, I can't even get the stuff. Like, is there anything you want to?
Oh, I might be interested in shooting that Gemtech you got if it's handy.
I was looking for it yesterday and I couldn't find it.
I'll keep looking. Big deal.
I'll keep looking.
I'm still on the fence about wetting my beak in the can arena.
Let me tell you something. Because you like bolt action rifles, right? Mm-hmm. You're a bolt gun guy generally, right? Mm-hmm. Is that fair to say? Bolt action rifles and suppressors go together like peanut butter and jelly.
We're seeing a lot of them on the precision range now.
Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, because you don't have to deal with bolt speed, gas issues, springs, all this crazy shit. It's just, I'm telling you, get a can, get a, I'm gonna, people are like, oh, you introduce all these different threads, it's never perfect. Get a Silencer Co. Harvester 30, and it's a lightweight can that they designed for hunters, But I got news for you. If you shoot a bolt-action rifle and it says happens to be a sniper rifle, does it matter? It's not like it's a machine gun. It's not machine gun rated. So it's lightweight, but you're not burning it down with with your binary trigger. And then they have these cans. You can get different inserts for thread pitches, and you can put it on a 30 caliber gun. You could put it on a 5.56 gun. You could put it on a 6.5 gun, and you just screw out the back end, and you screw in a different on the back of it is a different receiver end with a tool, and you can even this gun is half by 28, and this gun we literally have this issue. Well, I got some guns that are in English, and I've got some and some guns that they're in a you know, uh, they're an inch pattern, and then I've got some guns that are in metric, not in English, inch pattern and metric. So all these German guns that we have are all, M18 by 1, and there's 20. Is there a 19 and a half by 1, and so half these cans that they sell in the U.S. There's no thread pitch available for this stuff. So your only option is to either force fit and have rethreaded a QD system on your barrel of your German gun, and then you get a QD, like a muzzle device that you can clip the thing on and clip it off, or these Harvester 30s you can special order. I mean, they have them, they just don't make a lot of them because there's 10 dudes that buy these, and you just call Silencer Co. and you're like, hey, I'd like a 18 by 1 metric insert for the back of my can. They just send it to you, and so I can put them on the Blazers, and I can put them on the American guns.
Yeah.
And it's one can you can move around on bolt guns.
So would it be heresy to have that Ed Brown threaded? Your brain just exploded with that thought.
No, it wouldn't be. No, because the reality is the technology of the Ed Brown gun's in the action, not the barrel. And if you had been shooting that gun the way it was meant to be shot for the past 25 years, you'd have shot out that barrel by now anyway. So we got a guy here that does a real good job threading. All the SWAT guys go to him, and he's a machinist. He's a machinist. He's not he runs a machine shop company. He's not an FFL, but he's a shooter, and so he does his own shit, and so he's so good, we take shit to him. I mean, I guess if you wanted that threaded.
Well, I'm actually considering it because I mean it's a shooter grade rifle. It's not a safe queen. It's got some dings here and there. So,
and it's got the black furniture on it, right? It's got that yeah. So I know Ed Brown had their Marine Corps sniper version. I don't know if I'd thread one of those, but even then, I don't know. I probably would. I mean, I'm to the point. I shoot suppressor stuff now so much that if I'm not shooting suppress, it kind of pisses me off. So it's I'd probably be a good gun to suppress. I mean, if you're planning on, I don't know, see, you could even make the argument. It's I don't know, if you're going to keep it, then suppress it. Or you could even make the argument if you were going to sell it, it would probably sell better if it was threaded.
Well, and around here, that's becoming the big thing. There's a lot of stuff that's not threaded that guys, on the Facebook pages, on the gun pages, that are local to me, people are all the time asking, who threads a barrel around here. So it's becoming more and more popular.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd have to see. Bring the gun, we'll look at it. I'm super interested in that action. And that is that Ed Brown 702 action. So I'm going to be all up in that gun. So Yeah, we certainly talk about it, and I can even ask my guy here if he wants to thread it for you.
Yeah.
I'll cover it, and I mean, he'd probably do it in a week, do it in a couple days. Like, I mean, it's not like we got to send it off and it takes 6 weeks to get it done. We
Yeah.
just go over there with it. So yeah. So
Well,
you want to shoot?
shoot it
You want?
unsuppressed and then slap a suppressor on it and do a comparison.
Yeah.
Be good video.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see the accuracy on it. So you want to shoot the Gemtech Integra? I still have to find that. And like one of the other problems I had is I can't find magazines right now. Well, it's not that I can't find them. I mean, I can't find them, but everything's packed up and like put in a undisclosed location where Dick Cheney is. And
Ah.
so, it's like I can't unpack all this stuff to find. Like I literally am like I have 115 AR magazines, and I'm like I can't find a single AR magazine. I'm
Oh,
like, I mean, I
I'll
found
bring a bag full.
okay, well, okay, if I can find the Gemtech, maybe I might have to, if you have a couple mags, it might help. So
I got one or two running around.
you're gonna like that Gemtech gun. You're gonna really,
Yeah.
really like that gun.
And then I thought I'd bring that mini out for you on that other
the Mini
project we were
14.
talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, I grew up with shooting some of those, like some, like my gun friend family, when I was kids, they had mini. I remember they had Mini 14. Like they had I guess it was a Mini 14. When did the Mini 30 come out? That must have been after I grew up. When did the Mini 30
Uh,
come out?
early '90s maybe.
Yeah, I was already out of high school.
When the
Um,
SKSs got real popular, Ruger got on the bandwagon for the 7.62 by 39.
mhm.
Brought the Mini 30 out. So,
Yeah, when was the A-Team? When was the A-Team TV show out?
oh, that would have been like late 70s,
80,
early 80s.
84? Like they may have gotten Mini 14s because of the A-Team.
Yeah.
This is entirely possible. We were very heavily influenced by television. Um, So yeah, I haven't shot a Mini 14 in a long time. I didn't talk about this. I ran into a Mini 14 used at the shooter supply on their used rack, and this guy had wildcatted this gun, and he had converted it to some kind of 6 millimeter. It wasn't, I mean, obviously it wasn't 6 millimeter BR. I can't remember what it was, but literally you bought the gun and he was selling brass and dies and something. It was some maybe 6 millimeter by 55 or no by no no five. Hold on, 5.56 by what's the overall length of five? Is that
Will be 5.56 by 45 if it's,
45?
the 223 caliber.
Yeah, so I think it was 6 millimeter by 45. And I was like,
Okay.
what the hell is this? And it was a neat gun, but I just I didn't want to get into dealing with it. So
Yeah.
speaking of not want to get into dealing with it in guns, do you think Wayne Lapierre quit on his own, or do you think you think someone put a gun to his head and said resign to be prosecuted? Resign to be prosecuted.
My
Movie
theory
reference.
on that was I think possibly his attorneys got in his ear and said, dude, you're screwed. So you might get a few brownie points by resigning before you go to court. And then they pulled the last minute plea bargain. I think it was more of a legal strategy than he got ousted.
Yeah, you've heard the rumors about him, right?
Oh yeah.
Like, did you hear the rumor about his love shack?
That one I haven't heard.
So there's a girl that here we go. It's on the let me bring this up. So there is a girl. She's in her 20s, Wayne Lapierre is 74, by the way. She's in her 20s, and she works for Wayne. And I don't know what her job title is, but she works for Wayne.
Yeah.
And for some reason, the NRA was paying for her. I don't know if they were renting or if they had bought. I don't remember. But somehow the NRA was paying for her to have a house to live in Northern Virginia, near the NRA headquarters. And she was a direct, reported directly to Wayne Lapierre. And, she wasn't ugly.
Yeah.
And it's just like, in this, just then like the trips and, the suits and, it's not like the NRA's been winning anything. So let's see here. National Chief Executive Wayne Lapierre has announced he is stepping down from his position just days before the New York corruption trial was due to start. So that's your theory in play. The 74-year-old tendered his resignation on Friday, citing, quote, health reasons. Oh, I hadn't heard that. I hadn't heard the old health reasons things. Let's see here. I've been a card-carrying member of this organization for most of my adult life, and I will never stop supporting NRA and its fight to defend segment. When did Wayne Lapierre take over the NRA during there was a big blow up at the NRA annual meeting in Cincinnati, I think in 1977. Did he take over then, do you know? Like what is 10?
If it wasn't then, it wasn't long after. I mean, he's been there pretty much ever since I can remember.
Let's see here. That's what I'm thinking. Like, I mean, he may have been there since maybe the early 80s.
Yeah.
Let's see here. I'm trying to find it. Wayne Lapierre, hire date. Born 1949. Well, here we go. Let's see. Wikipedia might have it. Boston College, Roman Catholic. Here we go. Let's see here. Since 1991, he has served as executive vice president. So 34 years?
Well, and then how long had he been involved before that even?
That's true because, the king just doesn't pop out to be the king. He's, worked he was knifing people for a long time, probably since 77.
You got to stack a few bodies before you can wear the crown.
Oh, shit. Here we go. I called it. Let's see here. Since 1991, he has served as the executive vice president and chief executive of the NRA, the largest gun rights advocacy, firearms safety, training, marksmanship organization in the United States. Wayne Lapierre joined the NRA in 1977 after working as a legislative aide to Democratic Virginia delegate and the gun rights advocate Vic Thomas. That name sounds familiar. Wayne Lapierre announced his forthcoming resignation from the NRA January 5th, 2024. The NRA contributed total $103 million in Pierce compensation. So he was making $985,000 a year. That's not counting all the other stuff. Security, allowances, travel, the love nest. Let's see here. Fraud and financial misconduct lawsuit. Let's just skim this real quick. Oh, here we go. Lapierre's compensation and exorbitant corporate spending on personal items such as expensive suits, chartered jets, and a traveling, quote, glam squad, unquote, for his wife. I had never heard of that shit.
I hadn't heard that one.
I don't think I've ever. I've seen him at the SHOT Show, or maybe it was was it at SHOT or was it the NRA annual? I think it was SHOT Show. Drew attention in the 11-day hearing in March 2022. New York Justice Joe Cohen denied a claim to dissolve the NRA while lining a lawsuit. Because this is the weird thing. Like, the NRA was founded by, veterans of the U.S. Civil War to improve marksmanship, to encourage marksmanship among the civilian population. Most people didn't realize this, and I had forgotten this. The NRA is actually incorporated as a New York company, New York State company. Because it was founded in like probably the 1870s. When was the NRA founded? The NRA was founded 1871. Let's see here, New York, New York. Yeah, because New York was, what was it? Did Amber people don't realize, people today don't realize, California has 40 million people that live there. There's more gun owners in California than there are in a lot of other places in the country combined.
Yeah.
And, California was a big pro-gun state. Like all the gun magazines were there, all these custom gun, all these custom gunsmiths, they all moved to California. They were all, because that was the center of the world. All the matches are out there, all the organizations, the latest and greatest things, they were out there. Well, New York was the same way, like Abercrombie and Fitch. You could buy guns at Abercrombie and Fitch.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these older hunting organizations or outdoorsy organizations, they were in the gun business and in New York City. Here we go. The NRA thing. Starting in the mid to late 1970s, the NRA has been increasingly criticized by gun control and gun rights advocacy groups, political commentators, and politicians. This criticism began following changes in the NRA's organizational policies, following what is now referred to as the, quote, revolt in Cincinnati at the 1977 NRA convention. The changes, which deposed former NRA executive President Maxwell Rich and included new organization bylaws, have been described as moving the organization away from its previous focus of hunting, conservation, and marksmanship, and more towards a focus on defense and the right to bear arms. Yeah, that did happen in 1977, and I guess that's why the NRA show has never been here since. So I don't know. You think what's the over under? Do you think Wayne's going to jail? You think Wayne will...
I doubt it. He's slippery enough that I don't think he'll go to jail. I think it's just going to cost him a lot of money in fines, probation. I don't know. It's just we don't know what's under the curtain right now as far as what there is for evidence. We just have a lot of speculation for the most part.
Do you think they'll do to Wayne Lapierre what's been happening to who's the little twerpy doctor that was basically contradicting himself all the time on TV and denying Fauci? Yeah, I wonder, 2-3 years from now, 4 years from now, they'll all the shit about Wayne's going to come out. That's the big thing. It's what the hell's been going on at the NRA? It's not been good.
Well, how many years ago was there a big inner revolt? And quite a few bigwigs, well-known personalities in the NRA hierarchy, actually got mad and resigned over the spending or lack of spending discipline that the NRA bigwigs had. I forget exactly who it was, but it was well-known figures in the NRA.
What had started was the NRA had hired, off the top of my head, I could have this wrong, the NRA had hired a lobbying group. I think it was a lobbying group, or maybe it was a PR group. It might have been a PR group. And they were spending, it was 20, I could be wrong, so don't take this as the real number, but it was some crazy, $25 million a year. And I know that seems nuts, but whatever the number was, it was crazy bonkers.
Yeah.
And, and it was they were, for some reason, it's why were they giving them this money? And then, I don't know if maybe they knew people over at the NRA. It might have been some kind of handshake deal. And then it came out. And so then a fight broke out and the NRA wasn't giving them money. So then they sued the NRA to, hey, you signed the contract, you owe us this money. It was a big old fucking mess. And and then so that kind of caused a big stink, and a lot of people at the NRA ended up leaving because they got called crooks. And then there was a groundswell of people trying to get old Wayne Lapierre out, because he basically, Wayne Lapierre was not the president of the NRA. He's the executive vice president. Oh, here's another clue. Here's another clue with the NRA. Let me look this up real quick. Let's do this one. NRA Board of Directors. How many people are on the NRA Board of Directors? Election results 2023. Okay, hold on. They have, it looks like 26 members on the Board of Directors. Let's see the names that you might recognize. I'm looking at the name. I don't Ken Blackwell is on the Board of Directors. He's the former mayor from Cincinnati, and I think the attorney general, maybe lieutenant governor. I used to see a lot of Linda Walker is on here. Linda Walker, she's a lobbyist she was a lobbyist here in the Midwest for gun rights. But there's 26 members elected for 3-year terms ending in 2026. So hold on. This isn't the total number. This is just new people elected for 3-year terms in 2026. It's 26 people. And so if there's people coming up every year in their 3-year terms, I have heard that there are 75 people on the board, the NRA.
Jeez.
Who's Ted Nugent, I think, is on the board. Like, all these people. But here's the thing. And this is a business, and this is a clue. I'm going somewhere with this. If you're listening to this and you're like, I don't give a fuck about this board shit, you're a gun guy and you care about the NRA, just listen to this. As a business person, all right? A small board at a company, from a small, moderately sized company, is like 3 people. A decent sized board for a really very successful company, like $100 million company, could be 9 people.
Yeah.
Okay. A giant board, a giant board for a giant company like some, Exxon, Royal, whatever, they got shit 5 continents. That a giant company board could have like 12 people.
Yeah.
13 would be crazy big. So with that said, everyone knows Apple. You've all heard of Apple, whether you like them or you don't like them. Apple is a $1 trillion company. They have a market capitalization. I think they were the first company to be worth more than $1 trillion. Okay, so they're bigger than all these Exxon. They're bigger than everybody. How many people are on the board? Can you take, because you have to guess how many? And they literally just they have an automatic. When you hit the age of 75, you're automatically off the board. You can't run again, or you can't run again. You're not off, but you finish your term once you hit 75. You're not eligible to rerun. Do you know how many people are on this $1 trillion company? How many people are on Apple's board? Make up Apple's board in total.
Wild ass guess. I'm going to say 16.
9. They don't even have 12 people.
Yeah.
The NRA has at least 26, and I think realistically they have about 75.
Yeah.
And so, it's like, what does this have to do with anything? I don't think these people are getting paid. They could be, because you do generally pay board members. But here's the problem. When you have a board that is so large and you need a majority to do anything, if you've got 75 people, the board can't do anything. And a lot of these people are loyal to Wayne Lapierre. They're his butt buddies. He put them on the board. They kiss his ass. He kisses their ass. Like, there's no accountability. This is complete corporate mismanagement. This is not corporate governance. This is a huge red flag. What kind of board has 75 people on it? That is not a board. Board of directors, kind of sets the tone of, well, either they can hire a CEO or CFO and COO, the C-suite, and they can be accountable to the stockholders, and they can approve or disapprove of directions of things, or they can set goals for the company. Apple has 9 people on their board. Tim Cook is one of them. What I mean, like, just the fact that there's so many people on this NRA board is 100% proof that Wayne Lapierre he just does whatever he wants. And I think this is going to get nasty. I think this is going to be terrible. And I think he has invited these Democrat commies. They're going to come in, and they could potentially. There's a good chance that the NRA board may get cleaned out. It may have to go back to being a 9 or 12 person board, and they may very well have to sue Wayne to get shit back from him. I mean, this could be if they are to survive, because if they don't do that and they separate themselves from Wayne, it turns out all this stuff, all this corruption, and they don't try to grab back assets from this mismanagement or mishandling of funds, the company will become insolvent, and it'll just, and there's one thing that, I think a lot of gun owners, like people, like if you watch The View, like, these harpies, who the girls on The View,
Joey Behar, Whoopi Goldberg,
yeah,
Sonny Austin, all those twits.
Yeah, they all know who who the NRA, what the NRA is, and they all kind of know who Wayne Lapierre is, and they, these libs, they get on TV and they're like, oh yeah, the NRA, fuck them, we're gonna get them, they're the problem, and what they don't realize is I'd say at least half of gun owners in this country by this point, they want to get rid of the NRA too.
Don't give two shits about it.
Yeah, they literally think that, like, they're getting Wayne and they're getting the NRA. They're like, we're getting them. And literally, they have no idea that half the gun community in the country is like, fucking yeah, fucking run that motherfucker down. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. 9 people on the Apple board, 75 people potentially on NRA board. That's criminal.
There's a really nice gun club less than an hour from me. Long range out to 600. I don't know how many pistol bays they have. They have sporting clays, trap, you name it, they have it. One of their requirements to become a member is to have an active NRA membership. And even though the facility is top notch for around here, that's a deal killer for myself and a lot of my friends. I won't say the name of the club, but as soon as you bring, somebody will say, well, where can I shoot, past 100 yards? The name of this club will always come up right away. But as soon as you say, one of the requirements is an active NRA membership, most of the people I associate with are like, yeah, that's a deal breaker for me. I'm out.
Yeah, I mean, I had to have memberships to join, a lot of these clubs. I'm actually giving up. There's a club I'm giving up membership to, because I've really only been once since we built our own range, and it's got like a 7-year waiting list, and they have a requirement. You absolutely have to be a member of the NRA, and even every year when you renew your membership, you have to give them your NRA number.
Yep, that's the way this club is.
Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of these old guys that they just give money to the NRA because they're, it's easy to give money. It's really no different than like libs, makes them feel good. Like, oh, I'm giving my money to the NRA. I'm doing my part. They have no idea what's going on, with with the Love Shack up there, and with 75 people on the board. They're like, oh, Tom Selleck and whomever, and all these people are on this board. I'm on the board. Like, all these people, vote for the board, and it's like they don't even realize that they're voting for the very mechanism that Wayne Lapierre uses to basically make the NRA his own piggy bank, because they're just giving money because it's just easy to give money and like solve my problems. Solve my problems, Wayne. Solve my problems, NRA. And there's a lot of young people, people younger than me, 50, younger than you, that have come up and they're like, what do you mean I can't have machine guns? What do you mean, like I can't have magazines greater than 10 rounds? What do you mean I can't, all this crazy shit? And they're like, what's happened to our gun rights in this country? What's happened to the Constitution? What's happened to the Second Amendment? Yeah.
Well, how many times has the perception been that the NRA has sold us out when it comes to gun legislation?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
they call it reasonable compromise, and it was the best we could get. And anybody with an ounce of common sense would look at it and go, "Yeah, that's just a flat out sellout."
Well, everyone knows that when they all thought Hillary Clinton was going to win, all the gun, they called it the Trump slump. Remember when Trump got in office, gun sales collapsed. It was literally called the Trump slump. And every time that, Joe Biden and these people, they start running, the gun sales go up, the PAC money goes up, the fundraising goes up, the mailers go out and they make money on it. Like, the NRA made so much money off. The NRA probably made $100 million off the Clintons over a 15-year period.
Oh, easily. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe more. It's just, they don't really, it's big. It's, yeah.
Scare tactic fundraising.
Yeah. Oh my God. Dude, you remember, cause I used to get the political magazine, and every time the NRA, it would be they'd have these cartoons of whoever was the politician, the gun grabbing politician of the week or the month, and it'd be some cartoon like some snake head and claws trying to grab your gun, like these crazy demonic cartoon things. Send us money, they're coming to get you. And it's this giant money pump for the NRA, and a lot of people started to wake up to it. And it's like, yeah, fuck the NRA. I don't wish the NRA to be destroyed, but
it needs a complete reset.
Yeah, all these. The NRA didn't get us bump stocks back. The NRA didn't get Gruen in New York. The local advocates and gun rights groups in the state of New York got the Gruen decision. They got that for us. And then, Gunners of America, Second Amendment Foundation. I can't remember all of them, but it's not the NRA. It's not the NRA that's done all this. The only thing the NRA, I have to give credit where credit is due. Do you remember after Sandy Hook, and even Republicans were like, oh God, we're going to have some reasonable gun control. Yep. And what happened was Wayne Lapierre got on national TV. I think he had a retired senator or representative who would talk, but he came up there and he gave a speech. And that speech, along with the other guy talking about, kind of laying out how all this gun grabbing works, and what the Second Amendment is for, and really need to focus on criminals not taking guns away. That speech did stop. Some stuff from passing right after Sandy Hook. That I'd have to give Wayne credit for that one. He put on his fancy $5,000 suit or $15,000 suit and went out there, went on national TV and gave a speech that worked. It really did. So it's not all L's for Wayne. He pulled that one off. But come on, dude.
Barely.
Yeah. Come on, dude. So let's talk about something fun. That's fucking Wayne. So
Nancy Pelosi's boobs.
No. She's been fired. No. Who's your golfer? I used her. Did you see the last meme? Your golfer, not Ozempic. That's Paige Spiranak. I'm thinking Ozempic because of the Paige Spiranak. Paige Ozempic is her name. The Illuminati boobs. So did you see the Illuminati eyes, the all-seeing eyes on her bosom? So we use that for some podcast art. So Paige Spiranak. Yeah. Hey, she's, she, you know what? Her business model is literally just like the NRA. It really is.
Yeah.
So like, so anyone says anything. So she'll do a spread or she'll do some shoot. She'll do something to get herself, hey, you haven't seen me swing a golf club in like a couple weeks. It's
In a
time for me to put a
braless
pitch.
tank top.
Yeah, or whatever. And she puts it out, and then there'll be like one person or like one organization that she doesn't even see will make some comment like, "Look at this hussy," or using sex to sell golf or whatever it is she does. And she literally will have this Google alert, and she will find people using her name, her team, and then what they'll do is they'll ping pong off of her post with her swinging the tank top golf swing, and then somebody will say something that's not 100% flattering, and so then she'll do another media release and then like Fox News will pick it up so they can have another reason to show her in a tight shirt. Spiranak fights back against haters, people that are are slut shaming her or something. And
Yeah.
it's just this manufactured bullshit that they do. I mean, look, she's got nice boobs. I mean, I get it, but come on. Like, I mean, at some point you're going to have to come up, I need to see you make a hole in one or something. Like, come on. I mean, it's like, I'm just saying, I can't golf. I'm sure you're a fantastic golfer, but at this point, I'm gonna have to see your golfing license, man. Golfing license and registration, please. Like, we gotta see you I gotta see you swing a stick, and not just some dude on the internet either. Like, get a golf club out there. Come on,
Let's
it's
let's be honest though, it is a lot better. Golf and tennis both. It is a lot better from like the late 70s, early 80s when it was all plain lesbians in pantsuits out chasing a little white ball.
Are you
We
telling
we
me?
we actually have hot chicks, playing tennis and golf now. It's
Hey,
actually worth watching.
I'll tell you that Martina Navratilova, I can't even say her name. You know, no, hold on. Are you telling me that Billie Jean King, you didn't have a poster of Billie Jean King up in your bedroom?
Let's be real. Nobody in the history of teenage boyhood probably ever launched a knuckle baby to Billie Jean King.
She's probably happy about it too. So, Bill, our younger listeners don't know who Billie Jean King is. How to describe? So, okay, do you remember? Okay, who's the She's kind of on hiatus, or like she's working part time now ever since the Trump Russia collusion thing made her look like an ass. Who's the woman on MSNBC that was really pushing the Trump? She's a super crazy lib lesbian.
Rachel Madcow.
Rachel Madcow? What'd you call her?
Rachel Madcow.
Yeah, Rachel Maddow.
Yeah.
Rachel Maddow. Billie Jean King was Rachel Maddow before Rachel Maddow was Rachel Maddow.
Yeah.
If you think Billie Jean King was Rachel Maddow in the 70s, and what I mean by that, I mean strictly on looks. I mean strictly same haircut, kinda. This kind of the same kind of look, like very similar. And yeah, so there were not a whole lot of. So I think who? Oh God, who was the really? I'm getting old. I'm forgetting everybody's name. Who was the really pretty girl who died of anal cancer? She was a big superstar in the 70s. Her ex boyfriend just passed.
Uh,
Farrah Fawcett.
oh yeah,
So you
yeah.
say Farrah Fawcett. You saying the Farrah Fawcett posters were else out? Or selling
There
Billie Jean
were
King.
there were definitely knuckle babies launched to that poster.
So yeah. Oh God. So okay, you know what? Since we're talking,
You're picturing the nipples in the bathing suit right now. I know it.
no, honestly, I keep saying to myself, it's terrible. I shouldn't. podcast. I shouldn't say this, but I'm thinking, well, how did that girl get anal cancer? Was she getting fucked up the ass? It's like, I shouldn't say that. This is why we don't have sponsors. So I'm sorry, Mom. So, but as I still, look, Farrah Fawcett was fine. I'm going to set the record straight. My favorite was, and I didn't like her normally. I just liked her in this one movie, the movie Cannonball Run. Adrienne
Barbeau or something like
Adrienne Barbeau, and she was driving that Lamborghini Countach. Yeah, and zipping it down. And see, I still love the Countach is my dream car. And
gets pulled over for speeding, lowers the zipper on her chest, and says, "I'll handle this one."
Yeah, and well, wait a minute. So I'm conflicted because I probably couldn't have got an Adrienne Barbeau level person. So I was watching that show and I was noticing Sammy Davis Jr. and Dean Martin were dressed as priests driving a Ferrari as fake priests. And I told myself I can probably pull that off. So I'm just like, wait, do you remember the outtakes? I don't know if it was from the outtakes of the movie.
The outtakes were better than the movie.
Well, and Burt Reynolds says he's talking to Dean Martin and Sammy Davis Jr. dressed as Roman Catholic priest, and he's saying something to Dean Martin, blah 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 blah. You and the chocolate monk here, and they stop, and he goes, "Did he just call me the chocolate monk?" Those movies were fucking hilarious. The Chocolate Monk. That's the title of the podcast.
Oh, that would never fly today.
No. What do you? It's like Blazing like Airplane, like all those movies. There's just
the TV shows even. I mean, it's a meme on Facebook. It popped up actually in my timeline memories today, but it was like, for all of you that get offended so easily, you would never make it in 70s television shows or whatever we watched in the 70s. And it was a picture of Fred Sanford next to Archie Bunker.
Oh fuck. Oh. Do you know the biggest thing with Archie Bunker was written by again, I'm getting old, I can't remember his name. Famous American playwright, just insufferable. Anyway, they wrote the Archie Bunker show, All in the Family. They wrote that show. And Norman Lear wrote that show. Norman Lear wrote that show. And, big leftist, whatever. And they literally wrote that show, All in the Family. They wrote the Archie Bunker character as a joke. They wrote the Archie Bunker character to be the mechanism, the literal device, so Meathead could be the hero of the show. And they wrote this thing, and Archie Bunker is this, working class,
get off uneducated my lawn guy.
Yeah, uneducated guy. He's a conservative Republican, and he, he's bigoted and, and he's conservative values. And they were horrified that when they launched that show, that Archie Bunker was the hero, because they did not write that show. They wanted Meathead to be they literally, think about that show. You watch that show, and they created that show thinking Meathead was going to be the star of the show, the hippie son-in-law.
Yep. And he wound up being the patsy.
Yeah, and it's like but the problem was, it's like, they were like, no, we have to. This isn't what we wanted. This isn't what this. This isn't what they wanted to do. All this commentary on Vietnam and whatever, and Nixon and all this shit they wanted to do, and they wanted to do that, and have all this messaging. They want, basically, it's a TV show to tell you what to think, America, and they were horrified that everybody watched it because they loved Archie Bunker, and they wanted to change it. But guess what? The networks are like, the fuck you are, because we're making money. So guess what? Archie Bunker is the hero. True story. Yeah. Archie Bunker. Yeah. The chocolate monk. Have you heard of that? I just want to talk about this. Have you heard of let me see here, the weight loss drug called Ozempic?
Yeah, I'm actually on it.
You're on it? Oh, you're not going to like this story.
No, it's actually it's to help lower blood sugar. It's a diabetic med. A side effect is weight loss.
So you're taking it for blood sugar?
Yeah, to help control my diabetes.
So so there must be something up here. So it's Ozempic and Wegovy. And can you wait a minute? Can you drink alcohol on Ozempic?
Yeah.
You know what? There must be something to this, because I know these women that take it to drop a bunch of weight, they can't drink alcohol for some reason. And they caught Oprah. They caught Oprah, like, she's real thin now, and she was drinking some fake drink, and they're like, I knew she's on Ozempic because she can't drink alcohol. And she ended up coming out and admitting. So anyway, listen to this. Woman will suffer diarrhea forever after Ozempic caused horror bowel injury, and the weight loss drug made another vomit until her teeth fell out. Claimed dozens of lawsuits saying the maker failed to warn of its dangers. And it's like, how do you puke your teeth out?
That's a bunch of ambulance chasers there.
I don't know. Go ahead.
The way it works is that it slows down your digestive system, so it takes longer for your body to absorb blood sugar, so you don't dump all that blood sugar into your system at once. So it helps kill your appetite. The amount of weight that you lose is really not a lot. I mean, they'll tell you right in the commercials, it's like 8 to 14 pounds. Okay. I can eat Taco Bell and lose that overnight. So what's happening is these women that are a size 6 and want to be a size 4 in 2 months so they can look better at the wedding are taking Ozempic trying to lose weight. Well, what's happening is if you don't have blood sugar issues, then your blood sugar starts to bottom out, and that's when you start getting sick. It's actually pretty dangerous to do. Because you can become hypoglycemic, but because you're running at such low blood sugar, your body starts fighting back on that. So that's where the diarrhea, the vomiting, dizziness, lightheadedness, all of that comes in, because basically you're becoming hypoglycemic and dehydrated.
So even though this has been approved for off-label use, there's people that they're getting this and shouldn't be taking it.
Oh, absolutely. That's why it's there's actually shortages of Ozempic. So if you legitimately need it to control your diabetes, there's times where I'll go in to pick up my scripts and they're like, yeah, your Ozempic's on back order. We hope to have some in Thursday. And you ask any pharmacist in America and they'll tell you that's the problem, is there's doctors that are prescribing it for the off-label use for weight loss. And so it's creating a shortage for people that really need it.
Huh. How long have you been on it?
Oh, a little over a year.
Okay. Is it?
And it does knock the snot out of your blood sugar. Not really a lot of, if you need it to control blood sugar, not a lot of side effects. You start out on lower dosages and then work up until you hit your targeted A1C. But doctors are even going straight to Ozempic and bypassing more traditional drugs like metformin because there's actually fewer side effects. So that's creating a shortage also.
So I've heard of metformin, but I don't know what that actually is.
It's basically you take it. Most people take it twice a day, and it jumpstarts your pancreas. If you're type 2 diabetic, your pancreas is still making some insulin, just not enough. So basically, it kind of kickstarts your pancreas when you eat and then take a little bit of food. So your pancreas will throw out more insulin to cancel out the blood sugar. It also gives you the screaming shits for about the first 6 months you take it.
Jesus, really?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So, you've taken that too, I take it?
Oh, yeah. I've been on it for, 5-6 years now.
Huh.
So I take that and the Ozempic. When you're type 2 diabetic, it generally will eventually get worse. I've been diagnosed for 10, 12 years now. So my A1C, it's pretty well controlled, but as I've gotten older, I've had to increase my dosages and then, now add Ozempic to the mix.
Okay. So you're not going to be puking your teeth out, right? It's not going to look good on video.
No. Not unless you beat me with a shotgun. then I may have to puke and shit myself just to save face. Blame it on the flu.
We've been going for a while. I didn't plan on going this long. You ready to do the blotter and go ahead and toss it?
Sounds good to me.
All right. So the first one comes out of Alabama. This is a man performs naked cannonball into Bass Pro Pond. Let's see here. Cops say 42-year-old George Owens performed the stunt just before closing time. The video shows Owens yelling something to officers as he shamelessly hangs on the edge, legs spread wide apart, before dramatically hurl himself over the side and onto the wet cement floor, smacking his head and ass in the process. So what he did is he stripped all of his clothes off, then ran through this Bass Pro Shop and jumped into one of those giant fish displays. And then the police handcuffed him and drugged his naked ball sack across the floor to get him away. And he's been charged with a hodgepodge of offenses, including criminal mischief and assault on a police officer. He also made vulgar comments to the workers. He was taken to the hospital for a psychiatric evaluation. Mind you, he's 42, so that's the first one.
Did you see the video?
Yes. I've had multiple people send it. Mongo sent it to me, actually.
He did not nail the dismount whatsoever.
The Bulgarian judge gives a 3.
Yeah. Olga Corbett is in no danger of that record being broken.
So the second police blotter story is actually one that you brought to my attention as it was happening. And so this headline I'm going to read to you from a gird your loins, no pun intended, a gay magazine called The Advocate. I guess that's been around a long time. The headline is from the Gay Advocate gay magazine. This is in reference to a shooting in a high school in Perry, Iowa. And the headline from The Advocate is right-wing influencers seem happy that Iowa school shooter might be LGBTQ+. Let's just go LGBT. Apparently this person is trans? Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Late Thursday morning. No, hold on. Perry Police Department responded to an active shooter event. Upon arrival, they found students and faculty sheltering in place or fleeing the school. More of it reported inside. Multiple victims with gunshot wounds were discovered. The shooter identified as 17-year-old Dylan Butler, a student at Perry High School. So this guy went to a elementary school, right?
Mm-hmm. Well,
so he's a high school.
No, it was at the high school. The Perry school system, all of their facilities are on one campus.
They're all in the same building?
Well, no, it's 3 separate buildings, but they're all on the same grounds. So you can walk from the high school to the middle school to the elementary school in.
But he didn't go into his high school and shoot people in his high school. He went into the elementary school next door.
Yeah.
I'm going somewhere with this because that sounds very similar to the trans. I don't remember if it was a guy, it's a girl, it's a guy. I think it was a girl that was pretending to be a guy in Louisville. So it's like, what's going on with LGBT people shooting up elementary schools? Because this LGBT person named Butler, I mean, this person wasn't having beef with a 6th grader, right?
Uh-uh.
So anyway, the shooter identified 17-year-old Dylan Butler, a student at Perry High School, was found with what appeared to be a self-inflicted gunshot wound. More of it mentioned that Butler was armed with a shotgun and a handgun and had made several social media posts around the time of the shooting. There were 6 victims, one deceased 6th grade from Perry Middle School, and 5 others injured, including 4 students and a school administrator. While law enforcement has not commented about the alleged shooter's gender identity or sexual orientation, social media users focus on the appearance of a pride flag on an account allegedly linked to the shooter and has led to a narrative amplified by right-wing influencers online. That account is no longer available, but screen grabs of its content have circulated widely on social media. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is why this story disappeared.
Yep.
All of a sudden, it's like, I mean, at what point, I'm not even saying this is an issue, but if they keep doing this, where you get these alphabet people, isn't that what Dave Chappelle calls them, the alphabet people? It seems like we're having more and more of these alphabet people. They're shooting up schools, they're shooting up gay bars. Like there was one out there in maybe Kansas or something. It turned out it was a gay bar. It turned out it was and they were tackled by the security right before they, these alphabet people. And it's like, when the media shuts this shit down, like, okay, like, you know how like you get like a, what was it? Remember the ice bucket challenge?
Mm-hmm.
What I don't trust about the media when they shit can this stuff is, I wonder if they're hiding from us. Like, are there alphabet people getting together in alphabet groups on the internet, and this is like their version of the ice bucket challenge? Fuck America, fuck society, fuck the straights or the cis or whatever they call us now. Go shoot up a school. But they don't want to talk about it. Like, you can't, but they don't want us to know there's a hashtag. If you look for it, you can find these people. But they were all willing to talk about the incel community.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, we knew all kinds of shit about the incels, and they were associating all these different people that had nothing to do with the incels. But there's something going on here with the alphabet people, and they won't even talk about it. And it's just like that. That's why no one trusts this. That's why no one trusts the media anymore. They don't trust government, because it's like, the girl dressed as a boy.
It was a girl. Yep.
Yeah.
In Nashville at that Christian school.
Or that was at Nashville or Louisville? That was Nashville, not Louisville.
Nashville.
My mistake.
Yep.
And like, they won't release any of the shit about her.
No, it had a big manifesto, and there's been a little bit of it released, and they had to sue under a FOIA request to get that.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was so heavily redacted that there wasn't. It was basically worthless.
But
haven't released a motive.
Uh-huh.
Haven't released an unredacted manifesto. Haven't released any personal information other than she was trans and identified as a male. And that's it. If that would have been Joey Redneck that had a Trump sticker on his pickup and went in and did that, they'd still be talking about it.
Oh, no, I can do you one better. It's like, it's like, wait a minute. There was a guy, there's been a couple of these. Like one went into a Walmart down in Texas, and he went to a Walmart, maybe it's in southern Arkansas, but he went to a Walmart that was like known to have a lot of maybe Hispanic people. But that's not the one that they really fucking jumped in with both feet. There's this crazy kid, and he's a racist. He's a white kid. I don't know if he was a minor, if he was like 18, 19, 20. And he even dressed as a bum, and he sat outside of this kind of like, black neighborhood, like grocery store. Like he surveilled it.
Mm-hmm.
Like he sat out as pretended he was a homeless person. And then he showed up and he just wanted to shoot black people. And it was nonstop. We know how he surveilled the school. We know his out, or how he surveilled the store. They know all of his social media posts. They know his motives. They know his name, groups he's associated with. Things he read, things he wrote on the internet, all this shit. And they know. I mean, like his name and his identity and pictures. And I don't think they've ever hardly shown but one picture of the Nashville shooter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the one in Buffalo at the grocery store, we knew right down to shoe size before they had even removed the bodies from the crime scene.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know what? That reminds me of
They could play the race card, but you can't play the transgender card. And that's exactly why they buried this stuff.
Do you remember the guy? This was in Nashville too, I think. I could be wrong. Maybe it was Memphis. Refresh my memory. Do you remember the guy who blew up the telephone switching station? Was that in Nashville or was that in Memphis or something?
That was in Nashville also, because the new 5G stuff was filling his head with liberal propaganda.
So, okay, so did they, because I kind of thought that story kind of got disappeared too.
Yep, it did.
So he was that
was like on New Year's Day or something. No, he was a conservative, but he was one of those 5G conspiracy theorists. And 5G was, I don't remember what his exact bitch about it was, but 5G was this big liberal conspiracy to, normalize the alphabet soup people and all the other liberal stuff.
But so is there, okay, is there a liberal, so the conspiracy is that the libs are using 5G to make the frogs gay, or is it like the 5G is like the new world order, one world government thing? Like, what was it?
Little bit of everything.
Well, but they kind of shit-canned that story, but if he's a conservative, did they shit-can that story because they didn't want copycats of people attacking infrastructure?
I don't know, because it ran really hard for a couple of days, and then it just kind of fell off of the...
It got dropped.
Yeah.
It got dropped like a bad habit. And I was like, wait a minute. What was up with that one? Well, there was one in, remember the Tree of Life synagogue? And the guy shot up the synagogue in Pittsburgh or somewhere in Pennsylvania, maybe Philadelphia. And the media went crazy and blamed Donald Trump and like right-wing conservatives. Mm-hmm. They never really reported he was a liberal.
Yep.
He voted for Hillary Clinton. Who's the political party that is wanting to kill all the Jews? Who's the political party that doesn't want Israel to have the right to defend itself?
Exactly.
It's not the Republicans. So they straight up lied about that one. That guy was literally, he voted for Hillary Clinton. And it's like, that is not a Trump supporter. Yeah. And he shot up this synagogue. And if you ask anybody today about the Tree of Life shooting, they will still tell you that it was a right-wing guy that did that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, final story. We're going to get out of this one. This is a follow-up on a story that we even do you remember it was out of Texas, it was in Houston, and it was in a taqueria, am I saying it right? Taqueria? How do you say it? Taqueria. It's a Mexican whatever thing. So remember this guy, he came into this place. It's all on security camera, and he's waving his gun around this restaurant. There's like a handful of people. And he's going back and forth, and I think he's robbing everybody in the place. And he's walking back and forth. He's sticking his gun, he's pointing at the employees, pointing at the people at the tables. And then one point, what happens was he walks by, and somebody at one of the booths pulls out a gun, shoots him from behind, and guns him down on the ground, finishes him off. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people were kind of like, I don't know if that was a good shoot. I don't know, like, he shot him too much. Well, here's a follow-up on this. Jury declines to charge, quote, hero vigilante. A guy who's defending himself from an armed robber is now a vigilante, by the way.
Right.
Grand jury declines to charge hero vigilante who shot and killed serial thief Eugene Washington inside Houston Taqueria as he was walking away after the robbery. Hold on. And thief Eric Eugene Washington, 30, died after being shot 9 times. That's right. We'll have to put the video up. Shot 9 times by a customer in the restaurant he was attempting to rob in January of last year. Texas grand jury no-billed the shooter, which means they just chose not to do anything, which is how you get off. Meaning no criminal charge will be filed against him in relation to the incident. He could potentially be indicted later. Customer claimed he was protecting everyone in the restaurant when he opened fire with one bullet striking him in the head. Washington entered the El Ranchito Taqueria on January 5th, 2023, while flashing what appeared to be a gun, later discovered to be plastic. Oh, fuck, we never learned that one. And robbing the residents, you mean the customers inside. The customer, 46, then shot Washington as he attempted to flee the scene. Security footage shows the Texas grand jury has now no-billed the shooter, meaning no criminal charges will be filed against him in relation to the incident. Harris County District Attorney's Office said in a statement. This looks good to me. Looks good to me. Texas comes through again.
That's the difference between Texas and New York.
Well,
New York, you choke a guy out on the subway who's threatening the entire subway car, and you get indicted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is Texas. Houston. Houston's lib.
Yeah, but but it's still Texas.
Yeah,
let's face it. In Texas, they say, well, "Why'd you shoot him 8 times?" Well, because that's all the magazine held.
Yeah, it's a shoot that a lot of people were just like, I don't know if that's a good shoot. And a lot of shoots don't look that good. Like, it's just not, people run, they get hit, they turn. Like, he started shooting this guy and, basically followed him to the ground and kept shooting him so he couldn't get back up. And, don't mess with Texas. Well, this wraps up episode 328 of the John1911 Podcast. If you want to see more stories or pictures with links, anything we discussed, please go to the website at John1911.com. That's JOHN1911.com. Remember, it's all about shooting guns and having fun, everybody. Have a good night.
See you later.